everybody, welcome to the Cabin Life Bear. He is so adorable. So the first thing I like to do is I want to organize my pieces in the colors that I'm going to paint them, and that way I can just kind of whip through and paint pretty quickly. So there isn't really a lot of very small pieces except in the eyes and the nose. So you would definitely want to do the tape trick for that. So I'm going to pull out my tape, give this a little shake. If it doesn't come out, that's just a machine flaw because the piece is so small. And then we would just have to paint that by hand. Typically it comes out, but occasionally it doesn't. John normally gives me the piece that has the most problems. So I'm gonna put the inside dark gray ears. And these are etched so that the inside piece doesn't come out. They were just too small. So anything that's gonna be kind of black, and then if I have room, I might have to squeeze these down. So you get it, you're just gonna organize everything. So this is gonna be charcoal, black, white, rinse, repeat. Bears are so sweet. All right. The Cabin Life, so I'm gonna also put the dot here for my cabin. The Cabin Life is a really, is a really nice font. It's nice and thick. It's not in danger of breaking like a lot of the skinny fonts are. So I'm not gonna worry about it too much, although it does make it quite easier to paint with a sponge if that's also on tape. So you don't have to do this step if you don't want to. I just think it makes it quite a bit easier. I don't want to lose my tree. I'm also going to put my nose in there. So then you have, kind of looks like Mickey Mouse. The last two pieces, the cutout or the overlay, and then the backer board. So, okay, I'm just going to wipe it off. You sometimes have to sand the edges if they're real charcoal-y. Maybe look and see if you like the back side better. And occasionally there's a loose string from the inside of the wood that is popping out. So you might have to sand that or even trim it. So I'm gonna just do the dark brown trick for the background. I can never paint my door brown, you guys, because I've done this trick so much. I just happen to like it a lot. I'm gonna add some water to that mixture, and I have some clean water. Boom. Just a couple drops. Some people like to just leave it blank and spray it, and then it will get very golden, like reddish golden. You can do this with a big paintbrush and then wipe it off, or you can just use a big sponge and again wipe it off. I almost feel like, do you guys feel like that's too dark? I feel like you won't see the bear, so kind of just adjust. I'm just using a big sponge. I'm going with, well, not really with the grain anymore, but I'm just doing an up and down motion. And I'm gonna come in with a wet wipe or paper towel and just wipe it off. All the extra. Sometimes I like to just use a wet wipe and apply it so you really see the grain. Okay, just gonna rinse, repeat on the other side. You're just gonna set that aside to dry. You can touch up the sides if you were a little messy. One of the tricks that one of our regulars has taught us is if you just use paint to paint the side that is similar to the char, then you don't have to paint the whole thing. And then also a good tip would be to get the paint pen that is burnt umber, and that covers up pretty good too. So all I'm gonna do is add some cream, any cream, buttercream works great too, to our already existing backer board. And this is gonna be my nose. I just have a stenciling brush because that's just what I grabbed. And I'm okay if there is some texture on his nose. Then it's just a matter of going through and painting everything. Now, I don't have to paint this section here because the next portion would cover it up, if that makes sense to you. But I do have to paint this portion. But before I do, I'm gonna come in and I'm gonna paint all of my words really quickly. I'm just choosing to use black so it'll pop, and a sponge. And I'm just using my Walmart, very cheap sponges from Walmart. I'm gonna pick a star today. I'm just gonna go in. And so you don't want a lot of paint on here. So I dabbed and then I dabbed off or even wiped off. And I'm just not pressing hard. I'm not looking for the paint to squeeze down over the sides. I'm trying to mitigate a little of the damage, but still have fun. You could go over these letters as often as you need to, or as many times as you need to, until you're satisfied with the coverage. Since you have to sit here and watch the whole video, I'm going to just do it one time, and then while it's done drying, I'm just gonna quickly go over it. Oh, the dots also. I'm gonna come in, I'm gonna paint the dots. The inside of the ears are gonna be gray, but his paws are gonna be black. If you don't feel like you can paint the paws without the claws with a sponge, just bring in a paintbrush and that's fine. I just like this smoother texture finish I'm going to get, oopsie, with, I might have put them too close together, with the sponge. Gray is gonna cover that, guys, I'm not worried. Nose is black, but this little hooky thing is not, and it may be difficult to paint around it, so I'm just gonna go over top, and I'll come back and I'll do that little accent piece in white. Same with the eyes. It's just the easiest approach. If you're up for the challenge today, then grab your small paintbrush and go for it. And then gray. So I'm just gonna flip my star to another section, and I'm going to do a little cream with black instead of white. And I'm just using a brush. You could do pink, you could have a brown bear. Heck, you could have a blue bear. Okay, my tree, I'm just gonna paint the same green that I'm going to do my overlay. So we're gonna work on that in just a minute. I'm gonna let my paws dry. I feel like it's a really good application. I'm not gonna need another, but my Cabin Life needs one more coat. So let's talk glue. You can use super glue, but you gotta be that kind of person that gets it right the first time. And I'm not. Typically, you know me and love me, and I need several approaches to make sure my glue is right. So I appreciate something that glues quickly, but gives me just a minute to go, oh crap, I messed up, and allows me to change it. So, what else do I need to do? His face. So I'm just doing a black bear. So what I like to use, two things. I want to give you two options. Is if you have craft glue, you can use it, but it does have a sheen that's a little bit more glossy. If you go to the dollar store, $1.25 treat, you can get their original super glue wood glue. So it's not super glue, but it's not wood glue either. It does set pretty quick, but it gives you time to move around. It's $1.25 if you're having a party with your girlfriends. All of you, you probably have 8 and you'd still be fine. My preference is to get a bottle of the Type Bond Quick and Thick multi-surface glue. Make sure you get this one because this one blows. Don't get the premium, it takes too long. So I really like the Type Bond. You can only get it at Lowe's, Amazon, and Michael's Walmart right now. That's the only places I've seen it. What does it cost? So interesting enough, that Dollar Tree is so tricky. $1.25 for 2 ounces or $5, under $6 for 8. So it's actually more economical to buy the Type Bond, but it's probably more convenient to buy the Dollar Tree wood glue because those smaller bottles are just, I think they're just easier to operate. So I'm just going with the grain. If you want to see grain, only do 1 coat or wipe it off. I'm thinking I want him thoroughly covered. This is perfect for the cabin. So I'm starting to press a little hard, which is wearing on the sponge, guys. So I'm seeing a few shreds from the sponge. So what you can do is flip it over or get a new sponge. But I wouldn't keep going. I wouldn't be so frugal that you don't trade out your sponge because you're not going to be glad that you did. You're going to have some mystery texture on your bear. Oh my gosh, mystery texture. Okay. All right. So I've gotten all of those pieces done. This is a really quick project. I'm wasting more time washing my hands than I am actually painting. And you can paint that Mickey Mouse portion that we were talking about. So I think what I will probably edit the screen and you're not going to see all of this, but that's okay. You'll see all of this. I don't know that I have another paper plate, of course. Let me just grab something to mix on. I have an old paper plate here. I'll flip it over. Okay, so you could just go green, and this is just Craft Smart green if you wanted. You could start getting creative with it. I know that I'm going to use some teal on the this section here and green down below. So this teal I made myself, so it's stormy. It's a little bit more on the green scale than our bright teal. Kind of see the difference. Can't really hold this upside down. So it's not as bright and obnoxious. It's a little bit more gloomy, and I do like it. It's Monday. Happy Monday, you guys. Happy Monday. Okay. That's fantastic. This color can be any color you want. If you have, if you love my color, I did start with teal and I mixed green with it and a little gray. I do love how fast you can produce and create with the sponge option. But if you want to go a little slower, pick up your paintbrushes and get it done. I say go to Michael's, the craft store, and find some analogous colors that you like. What is analogous colors? Or colors that are near each other on the color wheel. The best way to kind of stay in that role is cool colors, and then there's warm colors. So my greens and this teal are both cool colors. If I was looking for something to pop, I'd go across the color wheel and I would pick something like orange. Probably just orange. Not looking for Christmas. Okay. I do really like that color. It's not too pastel-y. I don't love a lot of pastel-y. Okay, that's all I need that color for. I'm gonna put that up to dry. I'm gonna just flip my sponge over to do my overlay and my two inserts. You don't have to use them, but the backer board would show. Now, if you feel like you want more coverage, you can add a little brown. You could do multiple coats, or you could do a primer coat of gray to give it some depth. If you're painting, and this is a this isn't Deco Art, this is Craft Smart. If you're using Deco Art, you most likely have enough coverage with one or two coats. There's just a big difference in coverage. And Deco Art is my favorite. I just didn't have it in the green that I wanted to use today for the forest. Yeah, that second coat's really helping. So I may, just may, I'm just probably off screen right now. I'm just painting my tree. I may add a little bit of brown and put a second coat on. Got a little green. So the brown would deepen. The green just a little bit, but the best thing to do is see what I have. It's not bad, it really is not, but I do think I want a tiny little bit of deepening on the second coat. And when you're using the sponge, the second coat happens this quickly. It just made it a little deeper. Just a little bit, but I think it's all I need to get the look I'm going for. Sometimes I like to mix a color with gold or silver. The gold would have been an excellent choice. So I don't want the paint really going through the hole. So if you are using a paintbrush, try not to use a lot of paint. I'm still putting paint on my my sponge, and then I'm dabbing some off, and I'm trying very hard not to press very hard. do like that more. Deeper. I'm gonna go after my tree. One section that's just not covering. And then my little sticks. Oh, they're much better now. You know, they would look really nice as a gray too, but you can change your mind. Okay, the last thing I need to paint before assembling is the white sections. So I really, really want to clean my hands up. I got a little bit of green on the nose. I already know how the story ends. I'm gonna get paint on my white, and I don't want that. If you want to do glitter, goodness sakes, knock yourself out. I recommend that you use a clear glue to apply the glitter instead of just shaking it on there. Now I need a really small paintbrush for the eyeball and the nose. So where did that go? Okay, so I just have an area. I can still see the score marks. If you added paint with a paintbrush, you might not be able to see the score marks, and so you might have to just create your own. Time to put our bear together and just add any extras we need. See what I missed. I do recommend you blow dry first if you need it, if you painted quickly and you didn't have time for things to dry. I like to start at the bottom normally. I can't really see my eyeballs very well. I might have to change my bear a little bit more on the brown. So I don't want them to match my background at all. So when you see the finished product photo, it will be with a little bit lighter bear. Just gonna add a little brown. Okay, so this goes here. So if the wood underneath is bothering you, definitely touch it up. So you see why it's not sitting right there? I have a little piece, a little burr. I'm gonna take my sandpaper and get that all sanded up right there. There, perfect little fit. Oh, whoops, he's just a little too high. And he is not in the center, y'all. Hold on a second. do want to point out the tree is not necessarily in the center because cabin has more letters than life. Whoop. I'm going to sit on it for a minute and think about whether I want to use a little bit of brown in my black for my bear. And then as I'm looking at this, I may add a little bit of gray into my green, and you'd see that on the photo, and just paint it one more time just to give it a little bit more oomph. So if I decide to, you'll definitely be able to see it in the photo where the green is a little bit more on the gray scale. So what a cute, cute design. If you're painting this guy, I want to see what you do. And I want you to hang him proudly and he'll scare all the critters away. So have a good day, guys. Bye.